Okay, so this is my 8th video about the adaptation of the MMU2 from Joseph Prusa for it to work with any printer. So this video will be more of a tutorial in Fusion 360 about how I designed this part, and not a big step or a big improvement I made in the current project. So why? Because I had a lot of printer failures, as you can see right now, so this has slowed me down quite a bit. And I'm also working on 5 different things at a time, so I'm still limited by the speed of my printer, and that's also why I've ordered a second one for multiple reasons, because my first one is not really reliable, and I also need a lot more capacity, so printing capacity, because I have prints that are adding up and that I still have to print in order to check if the prototype works. And in order to be fast enough in the development of this, I need to make quite a few modifications to how I currently work. Okay, so as some of you probably know, this is the filament merger that we're going to be using with the multi-material upgrade. So the basic principle, it takes 5 filament in and 1 out. So if you want more detail on how it works and why I've decided to go with that option, you can go watch my other video. So I'm going to recap quickly what it is and how it works. You have a PTFE tube inserts to reduce friction, and this goes directly to the merging part, and this is linked to a pneumatic coupling which connects to a PTFE tube that goes directly to the extruder. And this is a failed print, obviously, so you don't see how it is on top and how it looks finally printed. And you may notice that there is this small piece where I insert a switch, and it triggers it when the filament passes, so I can use that as a filament sensor. So why do I need to redesign this? So for a few reasons. I'm making quite a few modifications with the like fixation system, because I need to connect this part to the main pulley body, which is let's see, right there. And this is not the current version I'm on; it's an older one. And basically, you would use a nut that you would slide in there, and then use screws to connect the merger directly to it. And but there's also another problem, which is a bit more serious than that, and it is you may have noticed right here you have kind of like a drop and a high change, and it's also right there. So these were caused because I did not design this properly, so I started with a simple rectangle and like simple lines. Then I added the inserts, then I added the coupling, and then I added the switch, but there was already like all the different holes going all the way through, and I didn't start over, so I had quite a few issues with that. And that's why I'm going to do it all over, and I'm going to take you along to show you what I did and to explain you and show you maybe some tools that you did not use previously if you use Fusion 360. Okay, so now let's jump right into Fusion 360 and start designing this new piece. Okay, so this is the part that you saw previously that had a few problems, and well, you can clearly see them right here. It's like really obvious that there are some quite important design issues and problems that I have to solve. And if you want an explanation to why that is, it's because I am lazy and I designed this and properly adding things on top of others when I should have just started over or cleaned a lot of things up. And you can just clearly see in my timeline that this is quite a big mess. So first, a quick disclaimer, I am not professional with Fusion 360 or anything, so you may have a way better solution than me. This is kind of a tutorial, but not really at the same time, because I don't consider myself having a high enough level in Fusion 360 to give any kind of advice. But I would just wanted to show you how I made it work, and this is exactly what I do with this tool. I make it work so it won't be clean. If someone tries to work with that after me, they are gonna have a lot of trouble. And yeah, I'm just trying to make things work. Of course, when this will be over, so the entire project, and when I will want to share the files, at least I will try to have them clean and made properly, so it's easy for people to just edit them, maybe increase the size for a bolt and nut or anything like that. So this won't be the final result. I can assure you of that. So now on the left, right here, you can see that I've already started working on the other on this third version. Well, not third, but V3. So I have had quite a lot of iterations of this specific part because I've made little changes, and this is also why it's taking me a bit of time. So as you can see, I've had kind of a cleaner design in terms of how I made the parts join, and my timeline is way shorter, and I have almost the same thing. So why do I have to redesign it then? And why won't I start from this? And why will I start from scratch? Well, it's basically because I'm really, really stupid. So let me show you this script, this sketch, sorry. And let's look at the dimensions. So you may see that they are quite close compared to the one I printed. So, and it looks way thinner as well. And I noticed that as well when I was designing, but I wasn't worried about it until I was like, wait, this is really weird. And I checked on the measurements, and instead of having a 14 millimeter space between each holes, so to say, I had a 7 millimeter space. So that's because I was working on the fixation system right before it, and I wanted to place little holes right in between, so I was always using 7 millimeters, and because of that I also use 7 millimeters, and now I need to redesign this entire thing because it is way too close on the inside. So let's go ahead. I'm going to create a new design, and we will start from there. Okay, so I have just created a new design, and the first thing that you will do is create a sketch. So what I'm going to do is create it from left to right. This is how I'm going to do it, and you may do it in another direction. This doesn't change much. And now that you're on the left, I'm going to use the center, the origin, to place my first circle. So what I do... Hey, this is future me. I've just realized that I've made a 30+ minute video, and I'm not even done yet, and I realize that it is super boring. So I'll just stop here. Just kidding. I will just speed things up by 10,000% and simply comment on the things that are actually interesting and that you probably don't know or should know in this design, because I feel like a 30-minute video about me speaking, like selecting different measures and changing a 0.1 millimeter into a 0.2 millimeter isn't that interesting. Okay, so the first steps are really simple. You simply create a bunch of circles. So for the filament to go through, so 2.3 millimeters for the filament hole and 4.5 millimeters for the PTFE hole. And then you create a rectangle around this that you extrude on 12 centimeters to make your like main body shape, and that's about it. Okay, so what I do next is that I create a space for the pneumatic coupling, and I then draw the merging chamber. So this is the place where all the filaments are going to be merging, to make it a bit cleaner than simply having the sweep connect at the same time. And this is also to help us be able to include a switch. and then we create the coupling chamber. So the coupling chamber is the place where all the filaments are going to be merging, so it has multiple purposes. So it makes the merging process a lot cleaner because I designed it myself. It's not simply the loft, so the sweeps that are creating this connection. And it also helps with overhangs, because if I don't do that, the program will create overhangs that are absolutely not printable, and this helps that. And then what I do is that I use a loft, using, you see I extrude that half of a circle. I use a loft from the rectangular face to the coupling, but at a 2.3 millimeter diameter, so this would be to fit the filament. And this basically connects all the cable very smoothly to the pneumatic coupling. So this is the main merging part. What I need to do then is use the tool named fit point spline to create the curves that are going to be followed by the different tubes. And I then use the tool sweep in order to create those tubes. So I began with the filament one, so the 2.3 millimeter diameter circle, and because these are quite easy, you just push them until they reach the chamber, and you make sure that they don't cut through part of the model you don't want them to cut. And then I treated the PTFE tube ones because these can interfere and you don't want them to interfere. What I need next is simply add a switch placement and design the fixation system, so basically a place to put 2 screws into the model. Okay, so this is the end of the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, consider subscribing and liking the video. So now I have to say a few things. So first, I'm going to be receiving my electronics, so the main board, in a matter of days, so about 4 days if they are not late. So I'm going to be able to start programming. The videos will probably explain the basic concept, but not go too much into details about the code. So if you're interested into having more details about the code, tell me, so I'll do a separate video that will probably be a few hours or at least 30-minute long, explaining the code modifications in detail and not only the basic principles. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.